Well, 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 look who we have here. It's not Gebos because he is clearly not on the chair. I am waiting for my internet to come back. Apparently, there's a bit of a hiccup. But I should be back shortly, don't worry, chat. Come on, headset. What's taking you so long? We should be back in operation by now. There we go. Going back to virtual desktop, and I should be in VR soon enough. Not on the local network. You must be kidding me, right? I'm gonna restart virtual desktop. See if that solves things. Come on. No computer found. What else is new? Chat, I'm still here. I'm fixing things. I just virtual desktop is just having a bit of a hiccup. Yes, thank you for whoever just followed. Connecting. There we go. Any moment now. It seems I need to reconnect to VR chat. Sorry about that, everybody. So what happened? Well, I just lost my internet. It seems my router wants to randomly restart between the times of 5 a.m. and. Hi, chat. Let me go fix my camera again, okay? I hope you don't mind the interruption. Ah, come on, buddy. Come here. Oopsie daisy. There we go. Put that there. Pin 1, 2, and 3. Oh, what do you know? Pin 2 is still working. Let's just fix pin 1. Oh my. Go back to how it was. Was it this one? I think it was this one, chat. No, the pin 2. Pin 1 is pin 2, pin 3. Behavior auto level roll. Pin 2 is behavior auto level roll. Ah, pin 1 is the one here on the right. This thing. There. A bit lower. Perfect. I'm back, chat. Darn internet loss. Why is the quality so good? Well, I just clearly disconnected, and I don't think that's good quality. Wait, I'm reading the messages sent by Hayden. That happened to me at my college. We had a campus wide power outage a few weeks ago. It was crazy. Ooh, yeah, power outages are not fun, especially when you're working on something critical and you aren't provided with something as important as a UPS. A little bit good. For those of you saying that the lighting changed, is it this one? Is this better? Or this one? Maybe reduce. Softer. There we go. Oh my brute seems to be not moving. I have to fix that. Wow, TikTok, thank you for the blaring notification. How many suits do you have in VR chat? Suits? I have 2 outfits. I have my coat and then I have my outdoors outfit. I don't really have much when it comes to a repertoire of clothes. No, it was my TikTok notification, chat. I'm sorry. Oh, I need to fix the funnel, huh? Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. Wow, this one's a little more direct, huh? Though I may be lagging. Hmm. Well, Verta, there's nothing I can do if it comes to your internet. I couldn't even do anything when it came to my internet problem earlier. It quite literally disappeared. Why, if it isn't Sparkles the Bye Scotsman. And Super Splat as well. I don't know. Sorry, I was checking things. Maybe a bit of a zoom out there. Aiden says, funny, I had my internet cables changed at my house yesterday to fiber optics. Ooh, wow. You must have a lot of bandwidth requirements if you're changing to fiber optics. No, unless it's your provider and you came from like cable or DSL prior, then it's understandable. I'm assuming at this hour a lot of my fellow Filipinos are tuning in. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Speaking of time, hmm, as far as I remember, this should be the hour that Vesper should be coming home. So for you Vesper fans out there, if you wanted to see her, your wishes might be coming true. Yeah, boss, what have you been doing recently? Oh man, I have been working on a lot of VR chat things. Mainly getting things right in the Blender and Unity. Yeah. Hmm. I could have sworn I updated that. But too bright. My eyes are a bit too glowy. Uh-oh. Now my eyes are dead. Is it even visible? Oh, it's not, huh? Okay. Axiom says, oop, there you are. I disappeared for about a moment, Axiom. Ooh. I'm doing okay, Anderson. Thanks for asking. What is your favorite video game? Asks Super Splat. Favorite video game? Here's the thing. I flit between video games. Um, but I can tell you the ones I had most hours in, though I don't really actively play it anymore. One would be Ragnarok Online for MMORPGs. Two would be Space Engineers. Oh man, I just go nuts whenever it comes to shipbuilding in space. Third, third, Conan Exiles. I spent a lot of time there in this fantastic role playing hardcore PvP PvE server. It was nice. And then there's the Battlefield series one, two, three, everything in between. And then there's For Honor. Oh, For Honor. I was wondering why things went quiet. You restarted the stream. Oops. I lost internet, darling. I'm glad I was able to bounce back. It's an outage that lasts a couple of minutes every morning. Strange, I know. Thank you, Tired. Good morning, little fox. Welcome back. Yes, I have indeed returned, Chan. There we go. This is a better POV. You get to see more of me. Are you from Florida? I am anywhere but in America. Try the opposite end of the planet. I'm from the Philippines, Chad. Especially to those that are curious about how I sound. That should give you your answer. I agree, this looks nice. You can just see more again. That's why your voice is so beautiful. Wow. Ooh, thanks. I'm surprised you're not streaming in the marathon category like everybody else in my watch list. Marathon? I stream for 2 hours and a half on average. I don't think I really stream for prolonged amounts of time. That will put me on par with the other quote unquote marathon streamers. Have you tried the newer Call of Duties? I stopped playing Call of Duty after Black Ops 1. Ever since Call of Duty turned into a Fortnite ripoff, it's like, ugh, come on, man. Call of Duty was known for its fantastic historical cinematicness. All of a sudden, it turned into a circus. That's a kind way of putting it. Circus, memes, celebrity streamers, all sorts of silly collaborations. It lost its essence and soul. It's nothing but a joke now. My favorite Call of Duty game was Modern Warfare. Was it 1 or 2? Either of both. 2019, yes. Soap and Captain Price. New Bungie game. There's a giveaway thing for subs. Yeah, sure. I'll see you around. You have a great day too. Thanks for dropping by. It's difficult for big companies to make good games, as Super Splat. Indie games have been seeing a resurgence in the recent years. I see. There we go. Now you can see the contrast in my eyes. A little better. It's a bit dark though. This better. Is it strange? I don't think it's gonna be well received. Are you just streaming on TikTok? Anderson, I'm streaming on both platforms actually. Nothing wrong with doing so, as far as I know. As long as you don't overlap both of these platforms. You don't show chat A to chat B, and vice versa. I've come to visit the Philippines again, says Little Fox. What do you mean you've been here? That's interesting. This should be the Zoom cam. There. Marcos says, Soap trusted you. I thought that I could too. So why in the bloody hell does Makarov know you? That's an interesting question. I never thought about it that way. Is the homeboy in the mafia? No, no, I'm not. Do I do shady business? Not in the way that you think. Pin 2, pin 1. I wonder if it's apparent. Probably not. I caught a cold. Well, congratulations. Not everybody catches colds on a day to day basis. Consider yourself lucky. Hayden says, yeah, you'd be the guy who fights the mafia, not join them. Maybe I'm above and beyond these petty little squabbles between chaos and order. Please, that's what the cops are for. My goodness, there's a lot of you this morning, isn't there? Good morning, everybody. Interesting. Remember? Gibbs not focused on joining mafias. His focus is on oddities and unfamiliarities. Correct. I see what's wrong. Goodness me, how could I forget? I need to write that down. What's this? Gasoline says, I'm using it for character references. The action and verbalization you have is glorious. Verbalization. My poor grasp in English is being complimented at again. Why, if it isn't accordion, one of the few hyenas that actually go visits my stream. I think you're the second one. Oh, how Vesper is a fan of the species. She would always react so strongly towards you. Hello, RGB. I go watching baseball playing and your stream multitasking. Goodness me, you have one eye like a chameleon on this side and on the other. Wow. Whatever happened to my hands? That's strange. I knew there was something off. Don't worry about it. About it. Oh, I can't unsee it though. Ooh, that's nothing wrong inherently. I am so tempted to open Unity right now. So, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna perform a sneaky thing. And that's called opening Unity while I'm on stream. I'll try to multitask and read your messages. Mhm. Thank you, OCD, for rearing your beautiful, beautiful head. I'm sure. I'm sure I'll manage. Sure. Also, someone changed his eyes. Oh, that's a toggle. If you are curious, laugh. It's so. All I gotta do is, and my eyes are back to normal. Which is better, the one earlier, or the one now? I think I'll try this for a while. There. That's a bit of contrast. That's lacking. Not on stream, but I am in chat. Hello, Unity. It's been a while. It's been a grand total of less than an hour since we last saw each other. Ah, yes. Just chatting stream with your streamer actually doing Unity things. Wow. What a glutton for punishment. It should be here somewhere. Ah, there we go. No, it's not. Maybe it's somewhere up here. Oh, oh no. That's more things to do. Oh, no. No, is it? Yep, that's definitely more things to do. You need it later. Got it. Damn, I didn't know I blended the. I combined some of the blend shapes for the hands with the face. No wonder there was something off. Hmm. Did I really combine it? It can't be. It was unselected. Sorry, chat. Hold on. I'm just browsing through all 200 plus blend shapes I have right now. Hmm. Nope. No, no, no. Not that. Mm-mm. Whatever it is something that I will be worrying about later. When we are closing Unity, don't save. Okay, back. Oh man. Now, what did I miss on stream? Um, how was your day? It's okay. I smelled Dutch. You are incorrect, sir. I'm actually Filipino. I'm Southeast Asian. Hmm. I noticed the ASMR tag. A lot of people have been saying, Gab, your voice sounds ASMR, and you know what? Why not include it in the category, right? Hmm. Currently walking home, says Vesper, because I am now willing to wait longer for my dad to appear. Good luck walking home, love. Found a reason to become addicted to watching the boys and their VR content on YouTube. The bo there's a different the boys that I know, which is the one with Billy Butcher in it. Nice and warm in the sunshine, says Vesper, yet cold in the shadows here. What does that sound kind of? Yeah, the boys. That's the boys from Amazon. Wait, moving what? Hello, Jeffa. Gorgeous eyes. The first time somebody ever commented on my eyes on stream. Really, just because I added a bit of crest to it? Huh. Okay. Tell me you know stuff about an Oculus headset. Oculus? Nah. The only experience I have in VR headsets would be the Meta Quest Pro I'm using right now. I actually haven't touched anything else. Well, I did put on a 5 focus vision before, but that wasn't for long. I have no idea who the boys are. The only boys I really know from back then would be Filthy Frank, How to Basic, and oh god, iDubbbz, and who's the fourth guy with the curly hair? Okay, dog, I don't think this is a tech help stream. You may want to skedaddle and go to Google instead. Boy, but I ain't the invisible cunt. It's just when Billy meets Mark. I remember seeing that meme. Invincible, yeah, invincible, not invisible. Thanks, traveler. Where does he get all the megs? Why, he makes them, of course. Personally. Black Mirror is back though. Oh, you mean Captain America is gonna hook back into his immersive VR and let's see how it is. Dark as ever. I am excited to watch more. I remember the show before. It's called Altered Carbon. Now that was something. I've never finished that one. It's actually really good. What are your honest thoughts on my Marvel rivals? It's cool, it's free, it's your favorite Marvel roster, and best of all, they don't have to conform to DEI woke standards crap. The artists actually get their creative liberty being expressed. Yes, the men are actually handsome and the women are actually beautiful. Have you seen what happened to Concord? Ugh, disgusting. Hello, Victor. Oh, yeah. I would play more Marvel Rivals if I had like a squad of people to play with. But then again, during my first stint of playing the game on my own, I did have a lot of fun. I was playing what's that character that swaps between like the girl and the guy, like black and white? And of course, the Punisher. The Punisher is plain OP. It's so simple to use. The three body problem, isn't that the Chinese thing? That's actually on my watch list. Cloak and Dagger, yeah. Then again, I haven't touched Marvel Rivals since the second week it launched. So I haven't tried the new heroes like Mr. Fantastic or who else is there? I know there's a whole bunch now. Hmm, maybe I should play it again. De-stress. You're welcome to join me, Axiom. Maybe we can even drag Vesper in, who knows? She is a big, big fan of the Marvel comics after all. And Marvel Rivals is modeled after the comics more than the cinematic universe. So that makes us three. Maybe I'll go play after the stream. Who knows? No, not a fan of Rivals. I don't like Overwatch likes. Well, too bad, Axiom. Can you tell me objectively why you don't like Marvel Rivals, though? Sum it up in three key points, Vesper. You've obviously referenced Overwatch, so what key aspects of it is not to your tastes? Repetitive game loop and there's no progress. Two things we both share. I guess these are the kind of games that are akin to visiting an arcade. You know how after school or something like that, back then, you and your friends would go to the arcade, play for a little bit, and then when you're tired, you go home. That's the same type of game. That's the same fatigue I felt whenever I played PUBG, which are essentially all battle royales. And when I played League of Legends, I played League of Legends for years, ever since it first came out. Oh man. Yeah. Hmm. Sorry, hold on. I was just checking Discord. It says no person. Yes, the biggest con. And lastly, the player base is overwhelming. Screaming demands. I'm not a fan. Screaming demands. You do know voice chat is an optional thing, right? And that's the whole point of playing with only friends that you know. It's just us. A whole big reason also why I don't play solo in competitive team based games because your teammates are 9 out of 10 times crap. Either crap in skill or crap in personality. I can take you being bad at skill as long as you're good and we vibe and we're having fun actually. We're just playing the game to have fun, not to win. But if you run into somebody who's a captain, quote unquote, yeah. The sweats and the tryhards, correct. That's indeed the proper term. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm one of the campers. I absolutely love playing the waiting game in games. I remember playing Arma, and I would just sit in one spot. A round usually lasts several hours. I would just be there the entire round. 1 hour and a half per still until I run out of ammo and I'm forced to yeah. The thing is, I used to bring a machine gun. It had over 600 rounds. It was belt fed. 7.62 by 54 full power. And it had a suppressor, a bipod, and a times 20 AMS scope. Man. And then I had a ghillie suit on. Oh joy. So I would just sit around 1,500 meters away from where the objective is, the cap. And I would just pick people off, have my merry time eating snacks. Oh, there's somebody there. And thanks to the realistic damage model that Arma had, all it took was one, maybe two bullets if they're lucky, to down a person. So you can imagine how long I would just be invisible far. That's my favorite type of gameplay. What did I use? And no, not the Navid. Was it the SPMG? Don't remember. Another question. Do you like to read? If so, what is your favorite book? I actually love reading, but not paperbacks. The last series of paperbacks I read was the. It was a bunch of encyclopedias at home. Back then, I didn't have internet access. I didn't have a computer, period. This was during my youth. But what we did have was a small library. A small library which contained 24 volumes of encyclopedias, this thick each. I read each and every single one of them. I had nothing better to do. I guess that's where I got most of my general knowledge from. And how I ended up a bit smarter than the kids in school. Until I ran into, well, mathematics, that is. Oh, goodness me. Nowadays, what I read are Wikipedia wiki entries. Oh boy, I remember diving into the Marvel one. Who will they gone? Or go into the SCP verse, the Black Library, such and such. Hmm. Awesome Cyborg says, I've noticed that furries have a voice that fits ASMR. Why is that? You mean I don't know. I'm nobody special, really. Mystic knows that. I love fantasy. Says me, bro. Both Mystic and I are gonna smack you for that, says Vesper. Oh dear. Honestly, I'm just waiting for Matthew to come around. I'm sure they know. They know I'm here. Why? I can see them in VR chat. You know what? I'm gonna do a brave thing and I'm gonna send him an invite. Add message. Let's. Mystic is prepping for cafe today. Nah. Nicey. There we go. Let's see if things get interesting. Maybe Matthew fell asleep in VR. Who knows? Let me update that too. Let's go. There we go. Oh, all right. Forgot that was a thing. Right, where were we? Ah, yes, a tragic novel. Always tickles the heart. That is. Oh my. Looks a bit bright now, doesn't it? Not very flattering, you know? No, 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 no. There. Somebody named customer support. Wow. I hope you don't scam people with that name. Hi there. Welcome back, Seth. Hmm. We got a message from Vesper. Let's see. Or not? Was I saying things? Of course. What's that? Hi, Gebus. How is your stream and night going so far? Well, Vesper, you're welcome to join, of course. By all means. Um, as for my stream, one, it's not evening. It's actually 7:38 a.m. here. And that's for how I am. I'm doing okay. I feel a bit bad. I started late again. I may just stream again later because oh man. Did you know when you adjust your eye bones and Unity, it doesn't like in the hierarchy, it actually doesn't reflect in game and I had to Google how to solve that. Apparently you have to do that in like the character rig set stuff. Stuff. My eyes were stuck doing this. It was so funny and frustrating at the same time because I knew I had to be live within the hour. Well, 1.5 hours later, I got it solved, and here we are. Albeit there's still a few hiccups that I bet most of you won't notice. Hi, Gusty. Don't try to point it out, chat. I don't think they'll even know. I barely notice it. I wonder what it could be. Now you guys are gonna try and spot the difference game. Ooh. Maybe I'm just messing with you. Maybe there's actually nothing wrong and I'm just telling you there is, so you would pay more attention to me. Nah. Do you watch One Piece, Mr. Geb? Funny enough, I watched the first few dozen episodes. And obviously they were dated. It was the first run of the anime. It was in the square format and it took a while to I lost momentum. Funny, I the voice actor of who's the guy with the swords, the green hair, has a sword in his mouth. It's also the same voice actor who voices one of my favorite characters in the anime Gintama. Yeah, what's the vibe here? Well, you tell me, Oxford. I'm just sitting here and playing some jazz while chatting with you. No, you're looking good today, Gab. Thank you. What is this little bubble next to the type bar? How about you click it and you find out? Zoro, there we go. Yeah, your profile picture, correct. Chandler Potter. Mr. Potter. Why are you here watching my stream? Shouldn't you be studying on magic or something? Super Splat says you watched a bit of One Piece. Ever seen Hunter x Hunter? Hunter x Hunter, yes. I reached the part where they were in this tower and they were competing to. Yeah. My Hero Academia, I watched season 1. Season was the sports festival, right? That's where things got really boring and ugh. I just read the manga instead. One recent anime I completed and watched with my partner Vesper was Kaiju number 8. It was really nice. Definitely. Hibino Kafka. I guess he's the protagonist in which older folks like me, 90s kids, can relate to. Yeah, gosh. He's even on the same age bracket as I am. That's a clue to how old I am, chat. If you know how old Kafka Hibino is, I'll be right around that age. Yeah, he's cute though. He's right. He's trying to be hip and young with the other squad members who are definitely still in their teens or early 20s. The Heavens Arena arc for Hunter x Hunter. I see. Hello, Mikmik. Ano mo ba, Mikmik? Ilang beses na ako nasasamid yan. Di ba susupsupin mo? Tapos, maihigop ko yung pulbos. Puta. Anyway, I was telling the story about some powdered, it's like a powdered snack. Essentially, it's just powdered milk with a bit of sugar in a sachet. We would buy that as kids. They gave us a little straw, probably the width and length of a lollipop handle. They expect you to go suck on the straw with the straw within the sachet itself. The thing is, whenever you inhale powder, definitely, definitely is not a fun thing when it goes straight to your throat. Coughing fit in shoes. You're Filipino. Yes, chat. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Vesper says accidental inhalation of powder sucks, especially if it's oh, yep. Man, I'm bit of frown to my face. I don't see my regulars here. There's no Axiom, there's no Mecha, there's no Wolfie, no Mystic, no Joe, no Matthew. Where are they? Rigor Mortis is asking. Genuine question. How do you look so smooth? What are you running on? What am I running on? Nothing special. I'm. Uh, how do I answer that question? I'm using a Quest Pro. I mean, obviously, I'm in PCVR. And I have a decent enough computer. I have, like, I don't know, what do they call it? Like a 1060, 1050 Ti. Definitely not a 5090 or anything, chat. Mm-mm. This is the second stream I've attended. Just Palarmi, bro. I see. Welcome. Big asking, would you rather never listen to jazz again or only listen to 90s rock and heavy metal? I would rather never listen to jazz again. There's so many genres of music that I would be missing out if I solely focus on rock and metal. Vesper says if there's one major human design flaw that gets me daily, it's the fact that we have two doors in our throats, one for food and drink and one for air. Both are unlabeled, so it's easy for food and drink to get into the air end of things. Yeah, that's true. Efficiency, I guess. Buenos dias, Senor Game. How's your day going? Senor Arik Sans. My day is going just fine, splendid. Started a bit late because I had a bit of hiccups in Unity, but here I am nonetheless. I am Bessa. Don't remember you, but you're welcome to stay here all the same. Oh dear, hi Tail. What are you doing up here? What's this? Super Splat says if you're looking for good anime to watch, I would recommend Astra Lost in Space. It's a short 12 episode anime about a group of teens who traverse the universe in an attempt to go home. If there is a manga about that, I probably read it. I No, wait. There was this anime. Was it an anime or a series? Or a manga? It was about. It's gonna be spoilers though. Never mind, I'm not gonna spoil it. But it involves existential crisis, much like reading Gantz. But it was about a bunch of kids who were simply trying to get home from a different planet. And they were stuck there for a couple of million years because they couldn't die. They turned into gods. And I'll stop there. Hi there, Aaron. Nice to see you. You, Mr. Tail, need to be relocated a bit lower there, based on the manga. Okay. Nice pause. Sorry, chat. I can zoom in so you don't see it. Better. From a guy named Chance and he wants to gamble. Oh, what's your wager, sir? Bring it back. What, you prefer the zoomed out view earlier? Like this? I'm sorry, chat. When I just sit straight, it kind of makes my legs sore, so I have to cross my legs and switch it up every now and then. I don't mean to be ill mannered or anything. Berkut says, Gab, I think I'll go. I really missed your amazing streams. I hope to join every stream of yours like when I started following you. Yeah, I'm sorry about the scheduling. Really, I'm trying my best to stream earlier. Promise. Yeah. Oh. Speaking of heads or paws, yeah. Is the wager of the day going to be coming from my darling Vesper? Right, fine, I'll pick. How about I go pick paws and, you know, pick the side which Wolfie picks all the time. See if I have any luck with that. Hold on, fix brow. That's when I fix that. Anywho, Bro's got this mysterious detective vibe, and the coin flip just ties it together. Oh, mysterious. Right, how about we get this show on the road, Vesper? I pick paws, love. What's this? Vesper says, all right, if you lose, we actually make a group chat for that karaoke. Oh my god. We still have to do and schedule a time. Okay, love. Fine. Chat, we're gonna have a wager today. Oh, and then Hayden's just gonna wait for the wager, and then he got a skedaddle. All right, chat. So if it lands on pause, which is this one, chat, it means I win. Yeah, shiny coin, chat. If it lands on the other side, it means I lose, and the karaoke plans will move a step forward. Ready? Come on, chat. Heads or paws. Pick your side. I'm gonna flip the coin in 15 seconds. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so we flip, chat. Pause for most of my TikTok watchers. No. Vesper, the singing. Well, have to wait a little bit more because the coin landed on pause. Oh no. Letting Geb sing karaoke. Goodness me. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Well, that was quick and easy. It's my win, chat. But because Vesper is my sweetheart, I'll give her a free reflip. Just for the karaoke thing. If she loses, she doesn't have to pay anything. If she wins, then I'll do the karaoke. Look at that. So pause for me still. Oh shit. Shoot! It landed on heads. Shit. Alright, I'll go make the group chat in Discord after stream. Question is it just gonna be the original cast of people who are involved, or do we include Matthew and the others? Let's see. Last gamble. I said all pause, so I switch up this time. Quick flip for you, chat. Can you guess which side of the coin it landed? Here you go. Chat, as you can clearly see, if you zoom in, that is heads. Oh, wow. Ooh, it's a bit zoomed out. Thank you, love. I win, says Drakey. Congratulations on your little stroke of luck. Hey, at least you get to bring something home, right? Vesper, how do I use the points? Okay, then this was fun, says Hayden, but I gotta go get. See you around the next stream. Bye, Hayden. Maybe you should join the wager sometime, Makes things more interesting. But aside from that, I'll see you around. Bye. Going to finish eating real quick and then I'll be there. Okay. Can you say hi to my friend Aries? Of course. Hi, Aries. Hope you're doing good. Whatever your friend Capra's asking, give it. Listen to and do it. Wow. What was that? Ah, that must be the hiccups. Okay. Good morning, Viserion. I'm sorry I'm broke. No problem, Hayden. Hmm, yes. Omni-Man? What about Omni-Man? If you get hiccups, just stop breathing. You know what, Alin, don't you? Are you sure? Sea salt? What about sea salt? Aliens, yay or nay? Aliens are just another colorful species, just extraterrestrial, so of course. Isn't Omniman the one that squatted? Yeah, he has a meme around. His butt is like. I know what you're talking about. Hmm. TikTok's trending items. Wow, what the. Sounds like a recruitment account. I find the aliens cool after all, says Vesper. An opinion she and I share. Have you ever seen those alien chica babes, all their exotic beauties and curvaceous otherworldliness? Ooh. I mean, all of these interesting Sino cultures and whatnot, technologies and marvels. Precisely what I meant. How would you rate Reacher? Reacher? Jack Reacher? Backstepping like we don't share similar things. That's true, Bess. I know you. Let me double check something, Chair. Body. You know what? I'll just keep it that way. What do you want? What do I want? I want. I want world peace. What is this? Avery is asking, Geb, have you gotten into controversies before? What do you mean by gotten? Have you like read up on it or caught up with recent controversies or like do I have a controversy? If it's the latter, I really don't. But reading controversies, I not really my thing. I yeah, you were gonna say money. Nah, of course not. Aim for world peace, not money. Money. Kiriko, thank you for the 10 bitties. Hi there. I too love KFC. Is this VR chat? Yes, yes, it is. Does this world peace involve pause in it? 100%. Everybody smells great, looks great, dresses great, speaks great, and has good manners to each other. I don't know. What is the point of comparison between these two? Thank you, Storm. Gosh. A lot of you are curious about my new look. I know. Quite the makeover. And it seems I tend to change a little bit each time I go live. But as I've been saying, at the end of the day, I am still me. Gebos is still gonna be Gebos. Chat, I have a question. TikTok in particular. There's 42 of you. tuned in right now. From what country are you from? Let me know. Are you from Asia, Europe, America, South America, China, Russia? Check. Okay. Let's say his new form is just stabilizing. Yeah, what Vesper said. Avery says we are the same. Okay. Vietnam. Wow. A Vietnamese here. I love Vietnamese food. I love po and I love banh mi. America for Inferno. We have an English person. US for K. Slovakia for Monster Kill. Just like Axiom. Hmm. Are you a voice actor po? Hindi. Bakit? Parang ganun ba? Para ba ako nag-dub sa isa sa mga pinapanood yung anime dati nung kabataan ninyo? Ah, Wales. Oh, just like Joe, I think. He's Welsh. What does the sword next to Vesper's name mean? She has the power to erase you from existence in my streams. Yeah, boss, I'm here. What do you want? Money, friendliness, good manners, and right conduct. The good old US of A, says Lemonhead, home of the land of the free and the brave, and the greatest president. I'm not even gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop because Vesper's gonna direct her rat towards me. What do you use for your setup in VR? I use a MetaQuest Pro, a computer, and a set of slime trackers. Nothing fancy. It's just AI, can yet. No, I'm not, chat. Why do you always think I'm AI? This is because I don't move around. Chat, look, I'm very much seated. Hi. Except if I have put the camera in this angle, it's gonna look unflattering, okay? That's why I just have it like in front of me all the time. Over here or over there. Does Gab change avatars every day? No, I don't. I actually just stick to one. I don't think he understands Filipino. Nakakaintindi naman ako. Di lang ako nagsasalita ng wikang Tagalog kasi syempre yung mga nanonood natin, foreigners, taga-US, taga-Europe, konting konsiderasyon. But yeah, it's a Thai interactive. I mean, yes. Did your voice change? That is the one thing that has been consistent since before. So, do I sound different? Geb having hair in 2025 was not in my bucket list. Well, you walk into funny places and funny things happen to you, chat. Such is the nature of my job. Ah, yes, Geb, walk into the anomalous door that goes to an anomalous plane of existence. You'll be fine. Little did I know, being fine meant still functioning, but not exactly the same. What shader are you using? Why, none other than the common Poyomi. No, but he looks good with the hair, says Kay. Well, thank you. Yes, just do not pull on his thigh, says Vesper. Chat, this special thigh of mine is. Yeah, just please don't mess with it. We got Filipino furs before GTA 6. Pensive, you'd be surprised. There's actually a thriving community of Filipino furries in our country. I'm not exactly active in it though, but my friends sure are. Hmm. Sashiro seems to be enjoying my voice. I'm glad. Now I want to mess with it. Vesper likes to fiddle with my thigh all the time. Two things to fix. Why, if it is an axiom atom. Hi there. Thank you, Sackler. I'm doing okay. Bro is trying to riz. Goodness me. Is that suit custom made by chance? It looks amazing. Thanks. Um, yes, it has the latest animatronic technology in it to properly convey one's facial expressions. Micro LEDs for the illuminations on the inner ears and the eyes. Hmm. Or this could just be VR chat. Yes, chat. My ears actually follow how I should express myself. Wi-Fi was still bugging, says Vesper. What were you mentioning about fiddling with your thigh? You like fiddling with my thigh. Axiom says you're. Yes, sorry, I was spoofing. My brain is just being a little troublesome thing. That's okay, Axiom. Hi there, Nilo. Been a while. You're probably just seeing things. Hmm. And so Axiom starts Risk of Rain too. Funny, I actually have the game and I have the mod that gives you all the extra classes. It's fun. Welcome back. Perhaps Geb might be in Twitch. Chat, there's TikTok and there's Twitch. Choose your preferred platform. I would suggest TikTok for all of you mobile watchers because of its portrait orientation, perfect for full screen on phones. But if you're watching over a desktop, then I suggest heading over to Twitch for higher fidelity and for the 16 by 9 widescreen aspect ratio. You get to see more. Like my ear, for example. This isn't cropped on Twitch. Bop, 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 bop. What is this memo? Thank you, Flame. Uh, how do you have an accent? All of us has an accent, Jack. Thank you, Clementine's friend. Mind sending me an invite, please? Oh, yeah, of course. If I can see you. Oh, no, don't tell me it bugged. Hold on. Love, you're gonna have to send me an invite. I, let me try that again. Come on, VRCX. Work with me, buddy. It says spending offline. Weird. Invite. There we go. Thank you, VRCX, for the save. Oh, sorry. Yay, we get to see Vesper. Yes, chat. What's your biggest, deepest regret? Hmm. I probably should have saved all my Bitcoin and it didn't cash out sometime Christmas of a certain year. I got the Wisconsin accent. What does the Wisconsin accent sound like? Alarmy Bro is asking, will you be offended if I listen to you while I go clean my room? My cousin is coming over. No, of course not. Axiom here likes to listen to me while he's doing dishes, for example, and that's completely fine with me. Does it track the eyes? Yes. Up, left, right, down. Ah. Excuse me, Geb is into cryptocurrency. I made quite the amount of money from crypto back then. That's when you could still mine with GPUs. Thank you, 1080 Ti. Best motivator ever, says Action. Ah, you're so sweet. Like cotton candy about to touch a pan, quickly dissipating. Hi there, Del Fox. Dissipating into the loving goodness that fills someone's heart. You didn't let me finish my sentence, Action. That's the second shady related question I had on stream. This, chat, is the super expensive custom shader that costs 899 with 40% off. I'm just joking. This is just Poyomi. Just Poyomi shaders. The save. Nah. Action, we need to play. We need to enlist it again. I need to play. I need to decompress. I still have a bunch of blender work to do, but games is definitely in the list of things to do. Chat, all work and no play makes Geb a dull boy. Why if it isn't Vesper Stitches? Hi there, Vesper.
Hi.
Oh my goodness,
Oh,
you are in the
My
camera
phone,
way.
my hand is in front of the camera. My bad.
Yeah, it's okay. I can adjust. There we go. Pin one, two. And saved by Cypress Wolf. Thank goodness. Sweet of you. Thank you so much for the sub. It's been 12 months, a whole year support. My goodness. Cypress says 1 whole year. It's been a pleasure catching your streams, listening and vibing. I admire how your model continues to improve. Still the coolest that I've seen. Wow. That's some high praise. Thanks. Um, Let me go change the camera. Client. You can see Vesper over here. There we go, chat. Vesper stitches. Uh oh. Let's resume it. There we go, chat. We now have Vesper cam. See, you have a fan named K Identity at Twitch. Man, I'm super hungry though. Damn, I could just consume something orange right now. Like my biryani rice that I'm saving over at my freezer. Hello, Vesper, says Cypress. Hope both your weeks are going well. And hope your week is going great as well, Cypress.
Going well? Yeah. Hope yours is going well too.
Vesper's a bit pooped from having to work all day, but she's giving energy to chat. Yeah. How does it track the body? There's this thing called full body tracking. Using trackers, like physical trackers. I'm actually testing out these things called small slimes, and they've been working great. It's so light. I barely feel that it's there. The battery lasts more than 24 hours per like 10-minute charge. That's crazy. It's so good. Geb, I'm your fan too, but look at her, says Kay. And I love their avatars as rosary. Here you go. More Vesper for you, chat. Because I'm nice. Yes, you get the whole 30 seconds. Vesper, how about you go chat with chat? Yeah, spoil them a little bit.
Okay. Oh, I don't even have an overlay up. See chat. Whoops. Let me just pull one up.
Mhm. Hello,
There we
Blood
go.
Knight. You should Google the question, Alice. Cypress says it's been a good week of work. Got the good kind of tired today where you come home and immediately take a nap. Yes. Yeah. Come on, Vest. Give them a little winky. You got some premium material there, chat. You can't complain that I'm not generous. Hi, is this a public avatar?
Mm-mm.
What? Can I wear your face too? No. How are you doing? Oh, we're okay. Vespers. Well, she just came from work. She walked home from work, so she definitely needs to freshen
Mhm.
up. She just had dinner, right? What did you have for dinner?
Lasagna and like some salad,
Oh
but
my god.
pretty sure
Okay.
they had eaten like a few hours before I even got home, so the salad was soggy and I had to reheat the lasagna in the microwave.
Lasagna, even if it's 3 years old, as long as it's frozen, uh, it's just like love. For love never fades. As long as it's lasagna that's frozen.
I don't think the shelf life's gonna last you 3 years.
Ah, me. I have
Ah,
nails that
yes,
look like
Hogab
best
gets
friends.
food poisoning again.
All I
Oh, my
gotta do.
nails?
Yes. Look at the nails. Look at how predatory they are. Goodness me, they can scratch up not only a vinyl. Oh my god, we got that chat clip that, okay. There we
No.
go. Make sure you clip that chat memo. I know you're there. There we go. Hmm. Okay. Which is more powerful, love or a supernova? I have no idea how many joules of energy love has, but I am quite definite a supernova can crack a planet and love can't. Ooh. I ran back over to my screen. Where is my TTS? Properties. Oh, refresh cache. There we go. Actually, nuclear fusion is more powerful. Oh, yeah, definitely. Ooh. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. What's this? Lucky Bandit says, the avatar is looking nice, dude. Did you do them there yourself? Yes. I bought the Volper off Gumroad and then I did a bunch of surgery in Blender and a bit of paint mixing in Substance Painter. And lo and behold, here I am. I like my Nova Beast so much that I incorporated a whole lot of features that I used to have. Yes, chat, this is a Volper. I did not kit bash anything, nuh-uh. Except for my keepsake, the goggles, that's all. How's your film going? Here's the dilemma, Nilo. I shot most of it in my Nova Beast form, and yeah.
Hmm. I mean, there could be a slight workaround.
Oh,
We
like
add in
what,
that
Vesper?
anomalous door.
Right. I can integrate that, can I? Hmm. Good point.
All's not lost.
Yep, I know just the world. It was this funny little teleporter in the middle of nowhere. Some project something. I know what it is. Project Nature in Winter.
Oh, yeah, right. Gosh, we never finished either of those.
Yeah, because we were the one getting finished, Vesp. We kept on getting caught by
Yeah.
that thing. Seemed like a really shy guy.
Mm-hmm.
Had a feeling he didn't want us looking at his face. Hmm. Is this real? Definitely. I'm actually wearing a fursuit, chat. As you can clearly tell. See, the
Mm-hmm.
fursuit and all. Hi, Winter. The shy guy. Yes. Oh, he had very long, spindly limbs. Skin pale as powder, and he just kept on hiding his face for some reason. And he was crying. Oh, the incessant sobbing in some dark corridor, that facility, where we had to enable the generator so we could make our way out. Unfortunately, it was excellently dark. The lack of luminance in the area would make us inadvertently fumble around into wherever the shy guy was. Much to our, yeah. Yeah, we were chased around.
Yep. And I do not do well, so with that sort of situation. So, well, of course, we had to take a break.
Vesper's a
Do
scaredy
something
cat,
else.
chat.
Says the guy who was just as scared.
Um, scared. Professionally agitated, mildly confused and panicked. Yes.
Admit it, you were scared.
It was simply a personification of my fight or flight response.
I don't believe that.
Good morning from Cebu City, says Mahalimuyag. Good morning to you. Ganda dyan sa Cebu. Why are you flipping the coins and your missus ain't? That's right. Maybe coins isn't Vesper's thing. You should ask her yourself. Vesper, why aren't you flipping coins?
I do not have the coordination to do that. Nor
There
do I
you
have the
go.
skills at the moment. So, plus that's more of Geb's gimmick, honestly. We've already got two of my own that don't show up on stream, so I'm good.
Gimmick. Okay. Oh my God, you're Filipino. Hi, magandang umaga. Kumain na ba kayo? Nagpasalmusal na? Nyla says there's this one SCP fan film where he straight up yeets at the ISS. What? Wow. How? Lily Ross. Jacob the shoemaker. Zoom says the new haircut, you look different. Yeah? Ah, the Geb blush and the wings, yeah. You know, Nilo, I'm curious. What if I haven't seen any testing result of an observer being from another planet, for example? Like, what if he's on Mars and the shy guy is somewhere in like, the Earth? I am curious.
He's gonna hitch.
Right?
He's gonna
He's gonna
hitch a
hitch a
ride on the
ride.
next
Yeah.
rocket.
You want a manicure? I'm perfectly fine with my nice blue claws, thank you.
Most I ever done to mine was paint them black, but even then, sort of blends in, don't you think?
Yeah, Vesper's claws are actually nice. You see, in our job, we have to keep ourselves natural. Very light makeup as per directive for employees. So Vesper's is naturally beautiful. That's what I'm trying to get at. The case says I'm a nail tech. I'll do them for you, Gab. I don't mind a nice old pedicure though. Get it nice and groomed. Just not painted over. Ruby for
It just
wow.
chips off anyway.
Yeah. When things chip off there. Mm, no issue, you'll love them anyway. Ah, yes. I remember my sister. Nah, that's an old memory. My sister when I was younger. She's 10 years ahead of me in age. So back then I was like what 12, 13. She would always call me in and then I will be the guinea pig for the whole plethora of colors she has with her manicure set. I guess that's the perks of having a little brother that you can pick on. Me and my sister, we go along well though. That's the good thing about us siblings. We all love each other. We all die for each other. There's four of us, Chad, and I'm the youngest. My sister's the second. There's my brother, and then my eldest brother. Funny enough, it's only my other brother who is as sly as I am. My eldest brother is a pacifist. He'd sooner just be a tree that lets the storm pass while doing nothing. My sister is the smart analytical kind. It's always logic and pragmatic reasoning for her. A bit too much. My track has been stuck on one.
Yeah, so Geb got to be the youngest guinea pig, huh?
Yep. It also came with a lot of
No
its
complaints
perks.
from you, I guess.
I was the ambassador for us siblings. They would go like, Gebus, can you ask mom if like maybe we could order pizza? Why me? You're the youngest. She can't get mad at you. Like, okay. And then I'd be like, mom, can I buy pizza? My brothers want some. Oh, of course, darling. For you, anything mama will do. That's my mom. She was bipolar. She was that sweet. And you can imagine. So, yeah. Literally
Yeah, Geb
grew
got
up
the
with milk and
double-edged
honey.
sword.
Yeah. Double edged sword, mom. The thing is, the moment you go defy my mom's envisioning of who and what you should be and what you should be doing and who you should be with, oh my goodness. Chat, have you ever knelt on salt for 3 hours straight while reciting the rosary? Your knee starting to bleed and the salt crystals seeping into the wounds. Ah, yes, that sort of creative punishments. Hi there, fish. Super Splat says, I'm the middle in my family. I have an older brother and a younger brother. Ah, yes, the safe spot. You're not
Yep.
forgotten like the older brother is. You're not as nagged on because you're important like the youngest. Yep. I think Vesper is no, you have a twin. You're technically both in the
Yeah.
elder. Mhm.
Yes, but I would technically be the oldest by like 13 minutes.
Yep.
So my twin got the safe spot instead of me.
I see. Oh, I was in an all Christian family too. My goodness, I wore a shirt with a cross on it from a band or something. My mom said I was worshiping Satan or something along those lines. I'm like, okay. That it's one thing to call you out like that. It's another thing to tell you to no, you take another 30-minute trip back to this department store and you get a refund. Or you don't live in this house anymore. I'm like, "Oh, I just got home. I
What
saved
kind of
money for
logic is
this.
that?
Precisely, yeah. So I understand why a lot of people are really big into religion because of their experiences with it. And now that I'm older, I can critically think, yeah, not to spur on any troubles on
Yeah.
stream, but religion just isn't my thing, chat.
Like, especially you'll find like the Christians on TikTok victimizing themselves as well.
Yeah.
Hi, ex-Christian here. Yeah, none of that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's mostly them treating other people like crap,
Precisely. Why isn't
and then they
Matthew
wonder why people are
Sansi here?
walking away.
Nice to see
Oh,
you, man.
hello! It's in a certain owl.
Yes, I was wondering where you were. I saw you and Wolfie together while I was starting stream. I'm like, I wonder if two of my most beloved regulars would drop by. But lo and behold, it seems my hopes were dashed. But here you are now, Matt.
Hmm.
Boxton says I'm not old enough to verify your Discord. Yes, because it should only be 18 and above who can join.
Exactly. We don't want to deal with any kids. What involves teenagers? You fall into the category of kids.
What Vesper said.
I don't care how grown up you say you are, but if you're under the age of 18, sorry. No can do.
1 year left. I'll see you in 1 year then, Boxton. Matthew says playing around, just hanging as soon moving to the maid cafe. It's the El Alba thing today. Oh, it is Saturday, isn't
It's
it?
it's running right now.
I see. Oh well. Oh, I do have my medium Abby, don't I? And that's too. Well, Matthew, where is Wolfie, by the way? I haven't seen him. Is he asleep or chance? Dang. Ah, another wagerless night with Wolfie. He seems to be getting lucky, escaping as of late. Mm-mm.
I already had one wager tonight. Bummer.
Look at that, you know.
Oh, no.
Is that your sister? Or big sis? He's here in
No.
a Zelda map with me. I see.
Oh.
Well, isn't he gonna drop by and say hello? I know why. And no, Boxton, that is not my sister.
Nope.
That's my
Far from it.
companion. Have a wonderful night as well, Kay. Thank you for dropping by. You know, I was eyeing this particular outfit. It was something Vesper shared with me. It's a little futuristic, though. It still fits the theme. I asked another friend of mine, codenamed Shadow. She says, "Oh, that could work as your outdoor uniform." This one's more cozy, comfy vibes. I may consider revisiting it. Style. What VR headset do you use, Bob? Well, I didn't know we had Wolverine here. I'm using a MetaQuest Pro. Pal. Hi. It's a vibe in here. Oh, most definitely our dance. I didn't know what space. Made outfit. Nah. You're probably gonna see that over at Dervish's stream. Not mine. Unless something, well, big happens. I'm talking about the wagers. And that's a big maybe. I mentioned Dervish because you're using his emotes. I recognize that red mohawk. No, super splat. Have you ever played the FNAF games? Uh-oh. Look at whose attention you've got, chat. You see that stupid grin on their face? And anything FNAF related, you don't mention around Vesper. Or else it's like opening a can of Coke that has been shaken thoroughly for 30 seconds. It's gonna come fizzling out. She's holding back, chat. She's holding back. She's a huge FNAF dork. Knows the lore, watch playthroughs and everything. Probably knows the story by heart. Even has avatars and characters. Model after. I know the truth, chat.
I don't have any avatar.
Don't tell me I don't have a single animatronic avatar in your favorites.
You want me to take a look?
Oh, to you. I feel like I want to throw some cheese at you. Unless it's those stringy
The only thing
cheeses.
close to that would be the Uzi avatar I have.
Or mozzarella, then I welcome it. Toss it in my mouth. The Uzi avatar. Oh, yes, of course. Murdered drones.
That's it. Nothing Five Nights at Freddy's related.
Okay. Man, it's already 2 hours and 5 minutes, huh? Hmm. How quickly time passes. And I haven't hydrated a single time. I'm okay. 30 more minutes,
You think?
chat. And then I'll go. 55 more minutes. Memo, we haven't won
No.
anything today. Okay. I usually extend stream if I meet my quota. I mean, if somebody participates in my little game of flip the coin and I win. There we go. That's what I meant. It's time to drink. Yeah, wow. Okay, maybe I needed that. My arm? What about my arm? Did it flip? Yeah, chat. It happens when I'm not holding my controllers, and then I have to like. Yes, chat. I can't put down the goggles. I can also put it back up. Hi, William. 10 hours. Ooh. Marathon streams, huh?
Wasn't your longest stream ever like 8 hours?
I
But
think it
that was back
was.
when you first started streaming.
Yeah, it was like 7. I don't even remember how I managed 7 hours. Dang. Yeah, definitely gotta fix that. All right, Sand B, what's your question? Go ahead. What character is that? You mean what species? This is a Volper. Available at Gumroad. Um, Something like that, yeah. Whoa.
Hmm.
All right. Have you ever played The Forest? Oh, yeah, of course. I remember playing it when it was in early access or something. Creeped me the heck out. Um, Fleshy abominations and mutants that are grotesque is one of my weaknesses when it comes to fear related things. Yeah, your avatar looks a little bit different. Tell me what looks different, I see. Oh, Vesper got calm. What broadband do you. What? How tall is. Wow, what is these weird questions? It's as tall as I am. It's 185 centimeters. As for my broadband, uh, I've been using PLDT fiber for years. It's okay, Vesper. Take your time. Pardon the quietness, chat. I'm actually out tab and checking some messages. Hmm. Uh, Darn. Oh well, what can I do? One second. Okay, imposter. There. Sorry, I was setting things up. My bad. Breathe, but heavier. What do you mean, Memo? What? Oh, right. HDR. Got it. If nothing happens in 5 minutes, chat, I think I have to skedaddle a bit earlier than usual because the El Alba Cafe event is running and I don't want to miss most of it. Are you getting the Switch too? Asked Memo. I don't think so. I'm ah, I'm saving up on money and my cash hasn't been going really well as of late, as you see. But if extra money comes my way, I don't mind having a handheld console. Might be fun playing some games without having to be tethered to one's computer. Hi there, Mystic. Would you get the PS6 when it comes out? I've never really been a console guy. The last console I've had was a PlayStation 2. Then I had the PlayStation 1 and then a Super Nintendo Entertainment System. But I've been playing all my games on my PC ever since. Yeah. As much as I like the convenience of having a console, you just turn it on, start your games, that's it. No nonsense. I like the versatility that a personal computer offers. I can easily just alt tab from a game like Civilization 6, for example, and continue editing my video on the side or browsing through my social media. It's a do it all machine. Nor expensive, yes. No, thank you, Digger Man. Raiding people isn't really my thing unless they're like really close friends of mine. And I've raided maybe only once or twice in my entire career of streaming. Hello, Kang. A raid is when you bring over your chatters to another streamer's stream. Hi there, Forgotten Angel. Nice to see you. Tired. Are you a redhead tired? I can barely make it out of your profile picture. Oh, yeah. Huh. Right after stream, I'm gonna go heat up some food and then maybe I can go visit the El Alba Cafe. Speaking of food, if you were here during last stream, I may have mentioned that I get my food from this local Pakistani guy. He sells this delicious chicken biryani. It comes prepackaged in Tupperwares around this large. Well, of course, laid down. But yeah, it's like two pieces or one piece of big chicken, some onions, tomatoes. You get your long grain rice, nice and flavored, color orange and yellow. I bought 20 pieces of that. I've just chucked it in my freezer, and then you know what? I guess I am now in the golden age of convenient dining. Are you hungry? Grab a frozen pre made meal, put it in the microwave, and then consume. All the utensils and everything, nothing to clean up, you just dispose of them. Man, are these the things you appreciate when you're living in your own apartment and you're an adult? Ah, yes. As simple as a chore is washing dishes are. It's actually one of the things you don't look forward to, I bet. Yum, frozen food. It's not frozen anymore. The funny thing is, I've tried it. I've a whole month in the freezer. No, 3 weeks, sorry. 2 weeks being frozen in the freezer. Reheated it. It's just as good as the day I bought it. Like, wow. Huh. I'm getting hungry now. Sushi. I think I had some sashimi last week. I had some tuna. I had some well, was it salmon? I think it was tuna. And then I had uni. Sea urchin is delicious, Chad. My goodness, in case you haven't tried it. Smooth, creamy, sweet. Like, wow. Is Vesper there? Of course. She's back.
Huh?
Tiny Miat, you go pat them in the head and say, I'm glad you know how to speak words now. Hi there, Wolfie. My goodness, here I was about to end the stream and you show up. I have lost all hope of you, Matthew, Mecca, Mystic, Joe showing up. My regulars, my friends. Though it is my fault I started really late again. But here we are, awake. Hi there. I've missed you, Wolfie. Says my little friend over here. I mean, I myself missed you, yes. Yeah, adult life. What can we do? Wolfie knows it. Wolfie, aka Psycho Wolfie 73. In case you haven't been tuning into my streams TikTok, he is a regular player with my wagers. Last year he always played my wagers. Every single time I streamed, he was something we could look forward with Mystic, and I don't remember who the other people are because they're not here anymore. But nowadays, things have simmered down for whatever reason, and Wolfie still graces us with wagers every now and then, whenever he can, which is still the fun and highlight of the stream. What's better than having a little suspense, right? Wagers, chat. They're fun. Flip the coin with Gab. If you win, who knows what you can get?
And if I'm there, sometimes they can extend to me.
That's true. Not only does the win extend, like, rely on me solo, but Vesper can also pitch in. Bless you. Yes, cannons. Hi. Your skin looks cute. Thanks. No, says, yeah, don't life. You eat what you want when you can. Yeah. Yep. What sucks is when you're an adult, you're hungry, you gotta cook food, and then you're gonna clean up after. It's like the eating part's only 10 minutes. Preparing the food's 40 or 30. Cleaning up is 20. Ah, how should I train my dog not to jump on me? Redeems Forgotten Angel from Twitch. That's bad life advice. It's simple. Do you know those little ankle weights that we used to wear, that makes you feel stronger when you take them off? You do the same, but you tie them around the waist of your dog, preferably around 30 kilograms of weight, so your dog does not jump on you. Bad life advice, Chad. I mean, it's true though. I mean, your dog definitely cannot leap on you anymore with that much on his body. Thank you, Ari. Man, how do I want to do that? Excellent question. Ah, it's the chickens. Well, chat, we are 4 minutes away from 2 hours and a half. I don't think there's anything interesting that's gonna happen. So, I'll be seeing you in 4 minutes. I mean, seeing you off, I mean. Well, I'm not going just yet. I said 4 more minutes. Don't worry. There's still time. Who knows? I can't extend any longer though. I'm like really hungry. I need to get some food in here. Hmm. Cooking with Gab. You're gonna see me just going on like chopping the onions, crushing the garlic. You know how you use the big flat side of a blade to crush some garlic? So chop some onions, preferably diced, half circles. Go chop some garlic too. Slice some tomatoes. Put them on the side. Mm. Get some chicken broth. Ideally, powder it a little bit. That's my secret. And then you go beat up 5 eggs. Set your pan to low heat. Put a bit of butter on the pan first. And then you put your diced vegetables, your onion, your garlic, your tomatoes. You let it saute for a while. If you're a fan of mushrooms, I suggest adding mushrooms. And then, mm, once it starts to brown up ever so slightly so, you're gonna know the aromas is gonna overwhelm the room. It makes you hungry, your mouth's watering. Then you slowly pour over your beaten up eggs. And then, yeah. The secret is with your very low heat, it's going to cook slower. But when it's cooking slower, you go use your spatula to fold it over on itself, like that. Then you get the geb omelette. Don't forget the pepper. I like mine with pepper. Very simple. And we have just hit our 2 hours and a half mark, chat. My apologies if today's stream is uneventful. I can't guarantee something special is gonna occur every single time, but I try my best to keep everybody entertained, or at least have my company. I hope it wasn't too terrible of an experience. Mystic says, oh, Vesper says she's gonna go see Mystic. I don't think she's gonna be here to say goodbye, chat. It's okay. You move. Oh, moved from what? Did I join at the end? You actually just did. Unfortunately. What should I do if I travel to the Philippines as Forgotten Angel? Um, that's actually a good question. Bad life advice? Come here with cold weather gear. Cover yourself from head to toe to protect yourself from the blazing sun. Definitely gonna work in a hot and humid country like mine. It's okay, Olympus. No need to be distraught. There's always people who return for your streams, darling. So you're doing things right, Vesper. I I don't know. I think my content is starting to become a bit more. Nah, it's fine. The doubts were starting to creep into my head, chat. I guess it's just all the stress from working on avatars and fixing things every single day because I'm not exactly as skilled as most people imagine it to be. So, the motivation isn't exactly all that high. Maybe I just need to eat. It's a hunger talking, chat. I hope you have a good meal. Why, thank you, Aaron. Thanks, Olympus. I don't know, brew boys. If somebody gave you sand, what sand would you want? Gold sand. Hmm. Thanks, Olympus. You know what? I'm not gonna fret about it. Don't worry. I'm gonna go eat. Chat, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm glad I got some of the things ironed out from my avatar. Because it took a while for some people to get used to the new look, and I sort of understand why. But yeah. Excuse me. Hunger. Okay. Chat, as usual. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'll see you sooner than you think. Who knows? I might stream again later at an earlier time slot. I hope things go well. But yeah, see you around, chat. Thanks for tuning in. No raid today. I mean, I don't really raid anyway, so yeah. I have reference. Bye, TikTok. Um, As for my Twitch, wow, Robechito. Have a great day. Gavin Vesper says Cyprus. I didn't know you were still here, Cyprus. Thank you. I again hope you have a great I assume evening. Yeah, evening there. Good night, chat. I'll see you around. I'll stream earlier next time.